Give me a second. I was trying to be professional and then Tara distracted me. Can you guys see and hear us? How about that? We'll start there. And fresh meat, let's rock. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Symphony. Symphony Entertainment Gaming and Arts is my gaming company that focuses on horror systems, indie games, organic content, and player agency in an attempt to bring a symphonic approach to horror role-playing. I am your host, Bridgett Jeffries, and I have a chest cold, which means I wish all of y'all the very best of luck as I attempt to find words, create story, and improvise when I'm actually foggy brain. It's gonna be okay, and if it's not, I really don't care. We're gonna figure it out anyways. And we are back with the Symphony Sonatas, which are 60 minutes of fully improvised role play. As Chad has already indicated, this is the first sonata of 2025, and we have so many more coming down the pipeline. Now, as far as content warnings, I can't really give you any, guys, because I don't know what's going to happen, because when I say this is fully improvised, this is 100% fully improvised horror, to the point that we don't know the setting, we don't know the characters, and we have no idea what's going to happen. So actually, chat, while I'm reading the rest of this nonsense copy, why don't y'all start sending me ideas on the setting for this particular game. Your setting can be an era, it can be a location, it can be a season, it can be a terrain. I don't care. Flood my chat right now with where we're going to tell this story. I'll pick something from the chat and we'll rock out from there. One quick announcement. We do have a Patreon over at Symphony. So if you like this content and you would like to help us create more of it, please consider backing us on patreon.com/Symphony Entertainment. So let's jump in and introduce our cast, and then we're going to hop into this game. Chat, if you didn't hear it already, please feed me ideas on where we are telling the story in the chat. I'll start farming from that while we're doing introductions. First off, Tara, you are up, baby. Tell us who you are, where people can find you if you want to be found, and anything else you'd like to share.
Hey guys, I'm Tara. This is not my first time on the stream. Longtime gamer. I'm not a pro of any gaming stuffs, so you can't find me anywhere except at Chaos-Con in April.
Hey, love it.
Also, Nick's hair is fire. Sorry, I said it.
Oh. Nick's hair is fire, though. His hair is absolutely delicious. It's so goddamn good. Speaking of Nick, welcome to the Symphony for the first time, baby. You've been riding our chat and supporting us for months, and you are now here. Tell us who you are, where people can find you if you want to be found, anything else you'd like to share.
Hi, I'm Nik Welker. This is my first time streaming with the Symphony, and I'm very excited. This is not my first time streaming on Twitch. I have my own Twitch account that I stream extremely infrequently on, just stuff like Animal Crossing, Stardew, all that stuff. I can be found on almost all social media platforms under the Sputnik with 2 I's in Sputnik, so THESPUTNIIK, because Sputnik with 1 eye was taken.
Yep, it'd be like that sometimes.
Yep. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. Thumbs up.
Nik, welcome. And speaking of fresh meat, baby, it just keeps coming down the pipeline. Zach, welcome to the Symphony. You stay in our Discord. You're one of our most supportive members, and you are now here on stream. Zach, tell us who you are, where people can find you, and anything else you'd like to share.
Yeah, sure. I'm Zach. For me, my day job is I work at Knott's Berry Farm. During Halloween time, I build spooky mazes. I don't really stream on Twitch. I used to do some podcasting back in the day, but I haven't had to do that for a while. Though I do have something really fun. After this recording, I have to do the last bit of editing for my first scenario that I'll be sending off to layout.
Hey!
So my first scenario together again will be coming out hopefully before Chaos-Con. So they'll be finishing that up today. So this is going to be a great day.
Oh, babe, congratulations. That's absolutely delicious. Congrats. All right, babies, that is our cast. That is me. We are going to hop in. Due to this being, again, a purely improvised game, I am not able to offer content warnings. However, I have polled the players and the cast for red lines. We know where we can go. We know where we cannot go. And cast and chat now understands that the X card is now in play. X can be sent via private message or via Zoom. Or you can activate the red, yellow, green traffic light method at any point. Chat, you are also able to call color checks and for safety temperature checks. So if a safety tool is activated, there is no judgment passed. There are no questions asked. And that, friends, is where we are going to jump in. It is 2:06. I have until 3 p.m. Eastern to get 60 minutes of horror role playing off. I have polled the chat for settings, and I'm just going to pull a few of the ones that looked best to me, and then I want to talk to my cast out of character. Cass, hey, Tiffany. Cass, here's what I've heard. Some interesting things is I heard beach. Beach is always a great, fun contrast place to deal with horror. I've heard prison cells. Prison cells has a lot of opportunity to us. Matt came out swinging with some bullshit. A spring day in a banker's office as the bank is getting ready to foreclose on a local charity. That wasn't just a setting. That was a whole goddamn tee up, which I thought was
that's
absolutely
a whole movie, man.
That's a whole situationship right there. And then I also have the cemetery caretakers building. Cass, talk to me. Where do you guys want to go? Prison cells, beach, cemetery caretaker's office, or do you want to work in a bank that's getting ready to close on a local charity?
Ooh, that's kind of hard.
That is a tough one.
That sounds really realistic.
It does.
I'm gonna vote for the cemetery.
Cemetery
I'm
sounds
also
fun.
feeling cemetery.
You
Yeah,
feeling
I'm
cemetery?
cemetery.
We like cemetery? Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, I love it. You're all gonna die no matter what. I mean, Bucho, don't tell them the ending already. They already know. Hey, chat, do me a favor really fast. If we're working with a cemetery, somebody team me up a season, and then someone else team me up where in the United States this cemetery is gonna be placed, and we'll go with there. Yep. Tiffany, we got autumn is coming through strong. I like autumn.
Obviously.
Autumn is good. Yeah, fallen leaves, perhaps. I don't know. They might say that it might be autumn in Florida. I don't know. Okay, we're going with autumn. That's double autumn. Chat, tell me where in the United States this is happening. Louisiana is good. I like it.
Great.
I'll do my best not to lean into some of the major tropes there and try to do something fresh.
Maine. It'll be so beautiful in Maine in autumn.
Oh, Maine in autumn could be dope. And Maine feels good. I like that. Okay. New England, Massachusetts, Maine, something like that. How do you guys feel, Cass? How do you feel about autumn in Maine?
Sounds nice. Sounds like a nice vacation in a
Great.
cemetery.
Sounds serene.
Sounds
Serene.
very Stephen King. I'm here for it.
It is giving me cemetery Stephen King. Okay. All right. So we're going to do Maine. We're doing autumn.
Booch says pleasant. It sounds pleasant.
Pleasant. Actually, let's name this town Mount Pleasant since we're here.
Ooh, a mountain cemetery.
Oh, this is good. Yep, mountain in Maine. All right. I'm going to go modern day just because that doesn't require me to think much harder than I need to go right now. And this was the cemetery office, right? Was that what the original thing was?
Caretaker's office.
The caretaker's office. Okay. I like this.
Is it here? I have a question though.
Uh-huh.
Is it an active cemetery or is it a historic cemetery? Like, are there new burials there all the time, or is it like an old colonial?
Zach, what do you think? Active cemetery, or is this one of those historic cemeteries?
What if it's a cemetery that's just about to be filled? Like it's like the last couple of days. Like
We're gonna poltergeist this shit.
Yeah. Like
Wait, the last couple days is getting ready to do what?
It's about to be basically become a historic cemetery. They've run out of space.
Okay. I like this. I just want to read what Bucho said. A mountain cemetery. I like the idea of a storm coming in and washing away part of the slopes. Ooh, revealing open graves and coffins sliding down the landscape. Wow. And that, guys, was the symphony. Y'all have a wonderful night. I hope y'all enjoyed the game.
And we all got crushed by dead bodies. There you go.
God, it's like Night of the Living Dead.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody. It was a good day.
Have a good night. Back us on Patreon. Bye. Okay. No, this is amazing. This is amazing. Okay. We're going to do character generation right now. I'm going to jump us in immediately. Guys, it is early September of 2025. We are in Mount Pleasant, Maine, which is a very small, very quaint mountain town in Maine. There is a historic cemetery by the name of, chat, give me the name whenever you get a chance, whatever this blah, blah, blah cemetery is. That that has reached its occupation and is getting ready to make the historic transition from an active place where loved ones are put to rest to a historic place where it is now just a place of remembrance. The ground can no longer be disturbed. And there was the entire town ceremony and the festival and blah blah blah, and now it is quiet. Things are calm, and like most things that hit the human radar, it's a blip of a moment in time, and then it just kind of fades into the background as something that we're just moving past. Only for the three of you, there's something that you can't let go about this particular cemetery. There is something here that is bringing you back. There is something here that is anchoring the fact that you can't just let this go, that you can't just let this go into wherever phase the cemetery is going in. And I'm going to start with Tara. And babe, I just want you to run me 30 seconds of who your character is. Please include description, name, pronouns that I should be addressing your character by, and then tell me what part of yourself that you lost in this particular cemetery.
Well, for me, I'm a member of a local congregation. The flavor of Christianity doesn't really matter. And I have led. I'm in my 70s. I have led the group that has taken care of not the grounds, but we're the ones that we've gone out and taken care of the headstones and any neglected plantings. We do those, and we've supported families at the graveside and so forth. And so this is my post-retirement thing. I've participated in this group for many years, and it's the closure of the cemetery to new burials is going to cut off a significant portion of my purpose. So I know these grounds very well. I have my favorite headstones. I've used some of these people, even though they're hundreds of years gone, as friends. I've researched a lot. I wrote a little book that was published locally about this cemetery, the history of the cemetery, and I, of course, have become personal friends with some of these families as we've supported them through this. So it's hurt. It's just gonna hurt me. And I understand, I understand, but it's still, there's a level of resentment that is not rational that I'm going to be carrying.
Oh, non-rational resentment is so human. I love that. Tara, what's your character's name?
It's
I
not
know
gonna
the
be
hardest thing about storytelling right now, guys.
It's not going to
Names.
be Chastity. I don't know why I said that. Charlotte.
All right. Charlotte, she, her?
Yes.
All right. I love it.
I'm going to
Nik.
change my name in my Zoom screen so that my fellow.
So your fellow cast members, yeah, we love you for that one. All right, Nik, we're going to start with you really fast. This is going to be the same thing. Give me your character's name, pronoun, description. But for your question, I am going to ask you, why do you think every single night when you go to sleep, your dreams are of nothing but this cemetery?
All right. My character is Andre, he, him, somewhere like early mid 30s. Andre is a bit of a social outcast. Never really been is local, but has never really been super tight with the townsfolk. And for a while, when he wasn't able to get another job, he worked as a nighttime groundskeeper at this cemetery.
Okay.
And when he was there, he saw some weird shit. Um, just things that couldn't be explained. And he thought that, it's not good for him anymore. He had to step back. He had to go and look for work somewhere else. But the stuff that he's seen, it comes back to him every night. He just can't get rid of it.
Oh, that is good.
And no matter how many times he tries to go to a therapist, go to a professional, talk about it, he can't. He just chokes up every time he tries to talk about it. It physically won't let itself out of him.
Oh, That's good. All right. Zach, this is going to be the same thing. I need your character
Okay.
name, pronouns we're running with. Tell us who you are. And then I think for your question is, Charlotte got what part of the cemetery or what part of herself did the cemetery take? Nik, who's Andre, got, why is it that your dreams lead you here every single night? And I think my question for you is, what did you give to this cemetery that you wish you hadn't?
Okay, I got this one. So my character is named Rodney.
Okay.
He is almost in the 70s.
Okay.
For the last he's been kind of a little bitter. He's been trying to petition to get a plot because his family has been buried at this particular cemetery for 7, 8 generations since this place had opened, and now he's been denied a spot. He doesn't have a wife or kids,
Okay.
and he's what kind of happens is, he feels like he should also be buried there, kind of like he's the last of his family, so he should be with his family in many ways. Uh, the one thing that the cemetery has robbed him of is his legacy, or his family's legacy.
Ooh.
Maybe they were founders of this town, maybe back during colonial times. Maybe it's just something that he cannot let go because, blood is thicker than water.
Oh, this is good. This is good. This is good. Okay. So, Charlotte, Andre, Rodney, you are all locals to Mount Pleasant here at the Ingleford Cemetery, which is what I just pulled from the chat. Thank you, chat, for that contribution. You are all intimately aware of each other because it's small towns. Of course you are. So you guys know that Rodney's family were the founders of Mount Pleasant. That go way back. But you also know that Rodney's family has a history of, well, let's just say Rodney is the last of that legacy, the last of that family. You guys are all aware of Andre that served as a groundskeeper here at the Eaglesford Cemetery, but you guys kind of all have heard the whispers that something happened with Rodney. He says he saw things, but he can never actually tell you what they are. It's probably drugs, right? Kid in his 30s, it's probably drugs. Or maybe he's just, sometimes they turn that age and they stop feeling very well. And then, of course, you guys all know Charlotte, who has suspiciously donated so much of her time. Let me correct that. Who has willfully volunteered so much of her time to the Inglesford Cemetery with, keeping up with the headstones. It's whispered that she has a favorite headstone. That's kind of weird, right? I mean, that's just something like the kids all talk about. Like, she has a favorite headstone, but that's a whole situation. The three of you find yourselves in the main office. Nik, tell me what the main office on this cemetery ground looks like. And then after Nik, you give me the office description. Zach, I need you to tell me who the caretaker is of the Inglesford Cemetery. Go ahead, Nik.
So, given how old the cemetery is, it probably looked a lot better when it was first built, but at this point in time, it's a bit of like a dusty, not quite a shack, but the structure itself is really starting to lose its integrity.
Mm-hmm.
You can hear like the wind whistling through the wood that the building was made out of. The door closes, but you can see, like the gaps, top, bottom. The structure itself is not particularly weatherproof, so there's, some water damage, some storm damage.
Mm-hmm.
But it does still function as an office, at least for the last little bit that people would need to go there.
Love it. Well, great description work, by the way, Nik, there. And then, Zach, tell me about the caretaker whose office this is. Or we should say was, because he's not going to be occupying this office for long, or they're not going to be occupying this office for long.
Yes. I believe the current caretaker, or the former caretaker, his name was Matthew Bogue. He'd been serving the cemetery for the last maybe 50 years. Like, he's given a good chunk of his life, and he's decided to retire, move down to Key West with his family. Every time Rodney has tried to call, he's tried to send a letter, he's even tried to come in person, he's always been turned away. So he has like a bitter resentment towards Mr. Matthew.
Ooh, I like that. Okay. Charlotte, Andre, and Rodney, you are all sitting in this office right now with that door that doesn't quite fully shut, that catches on the latch and bleaks back and open, and you can smell that crisp Maine autumn air coming in. The leaves always have a very distinct smell, especially as they're freshly fallen from the trees, and you can see that mirage of color just kind of float by with a breeze. And you're all sitting in this office, gathered together, waiting on someone by the name of Matilda Bogue, which you guys know is not only the young granddaughter of Mr. Matthew Bogue, but is also his attorney. She reached out to each of you in particular and invited you to a meeting here at 3 p.m. on this early September morning. For what reason, Tara? What did this letter say to the three of you?
Um, it probably said something very generic, that hinted to the fact that, or directly addressed the fact that the three of us are emotionally affected by the closure of the cemetery, and probably each one of them made veiled references to the reasons that each of us are affected, and
Oh.
and hinted at some news or sense of closure, emotional closure that we might receive if we attended.
Way to tee me up, Tara. Just threaten me with a good time. I absolutely love it. Okay, beautiful. The three of you there have been waiting for 30 minutes. Miss Matilda Bogue is late. I'm going to, now that all of that setup has been built up, I'm now going to surrender to you guys. 31 minutes, 35 minutes, 45 minutes, and Matilda Bogue is still not present.
Andre looks like he's about to spontaneously combust. You can tell that he really just has been avoiding going anywhere near this place since the day that he left, and he's just like anxiously like gnawing at like what is left of his thumb now, because it's been almost an hour now, and he's just looking at the door, trying to like peek over to like the entrance of the cemetery, looking for any possible sign that Matilda is on her way there, and he's just kind of mumbles. It's hardly audible, just like I need to get out of here before sunset.
We have a ways till sunset, but it's 9:45 in the morning, for anybody who's not watching the chat. I am almost done with my coffee, so I'm getting a little agitated, like in game, not here. I have plenty of coffee. And also I'm 75, so any women who might be watching know what that means. I have to pee. So this is a kind of crucial moment. I know that I'm going to have to go to the bathroom very soon, and is there a restroom in the caretaker's facilities? Is there something I can use?
Nick, that was your description. How do you feel about a restroom here on site in this facility? Or is it just like a porta potty that's like 50 feet away? What do you think?
There used to be a facility there. The door has since been boarded up. The next best option is porta potty, not quite 50 feet away, but kind of on the clear other end of the cemetery.
Okay.
Well, since we're waiting, I'm gonna go do that. Let's get this party started. And because what could, yeah, peeing in the headstones. No, I will not. This woman will wet herself before she does that, just so you know. Pee near my favorite headstone. I will not. Oh my God. You guys.
Oh, Symphony.
Oh, Charlotte is offended. She's not a particularly frail kind of woman, psychologically in that way. However, I would never. I mean, my whole life's purpose is taking care of these things. I'm not going to desecrate them in any fashion. But I will. I've probably used this porta potty before, and although it's not my favorite thing to do, I will go. And in case you're wondering what I'm wearing, it's fall in Maine,
Mm-hmm.
and I am wearing a long floral calico skirt. Not anything fancy, but comfortable. It's
Yeah.
been washed and line dried, 1,000 times in my lifetime. It's, one of those kinds of things that is, got a lot of detail, but is almost neutral when everything balances out together. And I'm wearing a cable knit wool sweater cardigan over probably an LL Bean polo shirt that has also been washed 150,000 times. And they all fit me like a second skin. It's just so comfortable. So it's all comfortable and hiking shoes because I'm sensible and live in the mountains. So I'm gonna, with those things in mind, I'm gonna leave my Yeti mug in the office there, and I'm
The
going
Yeti
to.
mug, yes.
It's 2025. I got my
Yeah, it
Yeti.
is, baby.
And but I'm not taking my Yeti mug into the porta potty with me. So I'm gonna head over to the porta potty.
How about you, Rodney?
Rodney's kind of sitting there. He's gonna like pull out his phone and do the old person thing of putting it on speakerphone as he starts putting in the number for Mrs. Bogue.
Uh-huh.
He's getting horribly annoyed that he's had to wait 45 minutes or so, and he's just like, let it. I would imagine it probably keeps ringing and ringing.
So, beautiful tea up here. I'm gonna splice you guys in three, and then we'll just see where this goes. Charlotte, have opened up the door in your hiking boots. You've left your Yeti here on the table, and you're on your way to the porta potty. And you can see the porta potty in the distance, and it's not far off of just like that one gravel road that cuts up through the center of the cemetery, where this office is on the right hand side. There's a big, large tree that is just bleeding a rainbow of gorgeous colors over a 2024 BMW, some luxury high-end model that looks absolutely spotless. It's almost like the leaves as they fall from the trees are afraid to touch the quality and the finish on this car. Leaning on the car, you see a Caucasian woman with long blonde hair that's pulled back into like one of those professional ponies that's like I woke up out of bed like this, but really this took me 2 hours to do this morning type of ponies. She is in a super sharp pinstripe suit, high heel black shoes that are crossed at the ankles. She is leaning against the passenger side of the door. She has an urn, a very large urn that looks like it's maybe about yay big. It has a very beautiful magenta color with white flecks and some type of engravings that are just wrapped around it almost decoratively. And she's cradling it in one arm. And in the other arm, you see that she has her cell phone out pretty much like this. And the cell phone is ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing. At the same time, Rodney, ringing. This woman is late. Ringing. 45 minutes. Why is she doing this? Ringing. And then the phone answers, and you hear the voice of your nephew who died 2 years ago. And before I get right back to you, Andre, you know that outgoing trilling sound that you hear on phones? That's like the outgoing phone that that the line is trying to connect. That's what everyone else would hear, is that outgoing connective sound. But you, every single time that line tries to reconnect through a tower, it's connecting through another tower inside of you that is triggering a certain sound, that is triggering a memory from one of the last times that you were in this cemetery. I am working backwards. Andre, just describe the sound that you're hearing that is cutting through you as this tower connects in and out of the horrors of something you experience. Is this the sound of 1,000 children screaming? Is this the hum of a ghostly apparition? Is this the sound of blood splashing downstairs? What is the sound that is connecting again and again on that phone?
It's not quite screaming, but it's 1,000 whispers. And all of them are saying different things, but they all sound so angry.
Ooh.
And if they don't sound angry, they sound resentful They sound displeased. You can tell that things there have been laid to rest but have not slept.
This is good. I'm going to ask for one more sensory experience. As you're listening to the sounds of thousands of angry, restless whispers, a taste populates in the back of your throat. What is that taste?
Metallic.
Metallic. Rodney, the phone finally answers, and you hear a voice of your nephew who passed tragically in a car accident on his way to prom, actually here in Mount Pleasant. And he answers the phone connects, and he goes, "Hey, Uncle Rodney, I don't mean to bother you, but like my dad's being a total asshole right now, and he won't let me borrow the car to take Tracy to the prom, and I was wondering if I could borrow your car.
What?
Please, I promise I'll take care of it."
Who is this? Is this some type of sick joke?
No. Uncle Rodney?
What? I look at the number.
Yeah, you look at the number, and you have an outgoing phone call that has been connected to a Matilda Boke. "Hey, Uncle Rod, can you hear me?"
If you think this is some type of sick joke, we've been waiting here for 40 minutes. I think that's quite rude. That you haven't arrived, and now you're pretending to be my nephew.
Uncle Rodney, are you okay? It is me.
Stop calling me that. I'm not your Uncle Rodney. If you were, you would be buried out there. And kind of just states towards the graveyard.
Okay. I guess I'll find another way to, okay. Thanks, Uncle Rodney. I'm sorry to bother you.
You do that. Have a good day. Click.
And as soon as you click, you hear the screeching of tires and a crash and burn. Charlotte, outside, there's this woman holding this urn, and you hear that entire conversation between... Did we name the nephew really fast? Did I give him a name and all that really fast?
No, you didn't. Let's name him Jonathan.
Okay. You hear this entire conversation between Jonathan and Rodney. And this woman's eyes fix on you, and she's just staring at you with this hollow expression.
Well, that's creepy. But I've seen a lot of grief here. Do I interpret her look? My God, my damn cow. Do I interpret her look as a pretty typical grief kind of expression?
No, ma'am. As you're looking at this hollow expression that she has fixed on you, this isn't even an expression as much as it is surveillance. Whatever this is watching through you. And you can feel that.
A shiver runs down my spine, and reminds me as it gets to my pelvis that I need to pee. So I'm going to continue through to the porta potty as I consider what might be going on with this. And one thought that is predominant in my head is she's not from around here.
She's not.
The way she's dressing, the way that car, that's not a Maine style car. But I make a note to myself, like a piece of me, the automatic customer service kind of person, says, when I'm done with my business, I'll check on her.
Okay. You don't really need to check on her because she's actively checking on you, and those hollow eyes follow you as just like you walk away, and even as like your back turns to, I'm going to stop calling her a her, because at this point you recognize it as an it. As your back turns on it, you can feel it staring at you, and your gaze drops low for a moment, and the porta potty, your relief, is just there in front of you. It's just Just 2 more steps and you'll be there. And you look down to your right and your left as your gaze sweeps, and you recognize that all of the headstones are facing the opposite direction.
Huh. I must have drunk too much coffee. Um, I'm while I'm processing that, I'm gonna do my business because there's it's a little chilly on this September day, and the last thing I want to do is figure out what's going on with wet pants. So
Okay. The door on the potty closes and latches. The little occupied from the outside goes from green to red. And we're going to go back inside of the room to Andre and Rodney. Rodney, you just terminated that phone call, and Andre,
yes.
somehow on top of all of those thousands of whispers, you could hear that conversation moving beneath it. And you know that boy is dead. You attended that boy's funeral.
Rodney's gonna. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you can go ahead.
No, you go first.
I look to Rodney and I just give him like a almost slightly "I told you so" type of nod. Um, it's like, yeah, God, I think the remains of my last phone are still on the floor here. I haven't bought a new one since. When that happened to me, I couldn't answer a phone again.
People can be so rude and crude. I don't understand why people would play such, terrible jokes.
You really think Matilda could imitate your nephew that well?
I don't. People do weird things. The thing with the internets and the what is it? The artificial intelligences. People can do anything these days.
Look at your phone. Do you see any signal?
One second. Let me look. Do I have a signal?
Yeah, you know that the very top of your bar where the signal should have like 1 to 5 bars.
Yep.
Yours has the circle with the line through it for no signal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have the signal. It just says LTE on it. So it should be an issue.
Sorry, 1 second.
Stunning.
Try again. Different number.
Oh, it's the one with the bar. Yeah, we're fine. I don't like it's. She should have been here by now.
Incoming call to Rodney's phone. It's an incoming call from Matilda Boak.
It's gonna hit it and then hit the speaker.
Okay.
Where the fuck are you?
Uncle Rodney, there's so much blood. I don't know what to do. Oh my God. It's just, can you please come and help us? Can you get to us? There's so much blood.
This is beyond sick. Sick.
I think she's gonna die. I think she's gonna die. You disconnect the phone and Jonathan's voice continues.
He just pushing all the even though there's just a blank screen. Please. It turns to Andre. Do you know how to turn this off? This fangled phone. Oh,
Nick, you're muted.
Oh, we got our first
Sorry.
Symphony mute today. Yeah.
It's
Hey.
happening outside. Andre, knowing that this probably won't help, but not wanting to hear the outgoing dial anymore, takes the phone and spikes it on the ground quite as hard as he can.
Oh. Continue with narrative. What happens next?
The phone shatters, but the voice remains. It's almost like it's coming from the air itself.
What kind of devilry is this?
Uncle Rodney, you have to help me. You have to help me. I think she's going to die. I don't want to die.
What do you want me to do?
And about that time, we're going to cut right back over, because that's what do you want me to do is such a great place to sever that thread. Potty time is over.
Potty time. I feel relieved. But my empty bladder leaves more room for consternation about this woman outside. So I hit the hand sanitizer thing,
Yep.
make sure my skirt is not tucked into anything, um and try to slide open the lock and step back outside.
Your right foot hits the cold or the chilling Maine ground. Your hiking boot crunches into freshly coiled leaves, and you are splashed in the face with the contents of this open urn as that thing is standing there throwing it at you.
Oh, that ma'am, that is so rude. I like instinctively, brush my face and try and push, I reach out. Is she within arm's reach?
Yeah, she is. And when you wipe your hand through the ash and the dust, your hand also wipes through her.
Oh, that's not normal. Um, I was a bookkeeper in my career, but I know that that's not normal. So I recoil from that and take several steps back and then turn to look at her again to see if I'm imagining what just happened.
Yeah, you turn and no, you're not imagining a thing, Charlotte. This is real. This is happening. This is your present circumstances. You're not dissociating. You're not just getting old. This isn't some fantasy or some illusion. Whatever that thing is, in a remarkable pinstripe suit and high-heeled black shoes is there. She drops the urn, the empty urn, because now the contents are all over you. You can feel the contents running down your shirt. You can feel it in your hair. You can taste it in the back of your throat. The urn shatters as she drops it. This empty urn shatters. And she hands you her phone.
I don't take it. I step back and say, "What? Who are you?
And
What is this?"
the head tilts just slightly. She just takes a step forward and pushes the phone back at you.
I take a long moment to decide whether I want to touch this phone. Is it even going to be solid? She wasn't solid. But then it occurs to me that the contents of the urn were real. They're all all over me. Um, and so gingerly, as much out of curiosity as anything, I take the phone.
It's tangible. Charlotte is tangible as a phone that you can hold. And as you look at it, the screen is opened up to a PDF of some sort. And it doesn't take you more than a hot second to recognize it. It's your book. It's the book that you wrote on this cemetery. It's the book that you wrote on this town.
Okay.
There are red lines and comments and corrections all through the book. There's the world that you have experienced and researched. And then there's a world that runs beneath what you can see and what you can comprehend. And there are corrections to everything. What's one of the most haunting corrections that your mind wraps itself around immediately? You wrote one thing, but what was actually happening beneath the surface?
So my favorite um headstone and favorite grave is a 6-month-old baby named Christopher Hafford. And
Oof.
I never I never had children, and during my research of this cemetery, I learned, he died in 1886. I learned that he died during a diphtheria epidemic and assumed that that's what he died of. And I learned a little bit about his family and his mother and some tragedy that happened to her after she died later in childbirth. And I like imagine him as my little boy.
Hmm.
And in moments of solitude and sadness, I have imagined holding him and rocking him, and I have lived through um, the imaginary death of this child as I wrote this book, and afterwards, I've just like really identified with this child. I can picture him in my mind, um, and how what he was buried in, and
Mm-hmm.
just like I know all of it, and there's something written there that corrects how he died. I want chat to tell me how he really died.
Chat, you are up right now. How did this 6-month-old baby actually die? Wrapping back over. And Tara, do me a favor, just continue to watch chat and just pull your favorite answer or inspire from your favorite answer, and we'll cycle right back to you. Moving back to Andre and Rodney. Rodney, you asked, "What do you want from me?" Was that final question? What do you want me to
Yeah.
do?
What do you want me to do?
I don't. I'm gonna. There's so much blood. I'm gonna go back and get her. Okay, I'm gonna get out of the car. There's some smoke. And Rodney, you know that based on the coroner's report, based on the news report, that this car accident happened. His prom date was pretty much dead upon impact. But you know, you've read that Jonathan went back into the car to retrieve her right before it exploded. I'm gonna go back and get her. I think I can get her out.
Don't, please don't do that.
Andre, you are hearing all of this. You are smelling that gasoline diesel fuel as it catches fire. You are tasting the metallic blood of that girl and now this soon boy that's getting ready to die again in this car accident. And it occurs to you. Oh, I'm going to pull that back. I'm going to save that for the end. We'll see what happens. We'll see if I do with that one. Now you have to wait. Teasing. How are you responding to this right now, Andre?
I'm going to look at Rodney and I'm going to very firmly, Rodney, look at me.
Rodney turns and looks at him, kind of like exasperated.
If you try to change the past, it's just going to keep happening. That phone call is going to keep coming to you whether you have a phone or not. You have to let go. You have to let it happen. You can't go back and change it. If you try to change it, it's just going to sit there with you.
Do you just want me to keep? Am I cursed to hear this over and over again, or do I just? I know I can't change the past. Heaven knows there's things that I'd want to change, but uh, I got to get out of here. This is just. This has to be some type of sick joke. I must be on one of those sick shows where they prank people, or one of those things for amusement. There's gotta be like a speaker like looks up to the ceiling, like as if there's like a wall mounted speaker or something.
That
Yeah,
would be
and Andre
comforting, wouldn't it?
knows.
If there were a speaker, if there was some type of sound device. Hell, if there was even an Alexa sitting around right now. Sorry for everyone's Alexa. I just pinged. No. Nik described it perfectly. It's almost as if this phone call is tangibly dancing on the air.
I think Rodney would like to go to the grave because he knows that Matthew's buried here on property. He was actually one of the last people to be buried to make it filled.
Flawless. Andre, what are you doing?
I'm not going to stop him. Um, I think, Andre at this point realizes that he's in the thick of it.
Mm-hmm.
Getting through to him is going to be almost impossible, and he's going to realize real quick just how much he's fucking up when, as the closer he gets to that grave, the louder it gets.
Perfect. Tara, tell us what's correction is on that book. How did, what did I see? Hafford?
Christopher Hafford.
How did Christopher Hafford die?
He was poisoned. And he was poisoned by his mother, who was experiencing postpartum depression and was young and sick and had, suffered what a lot of women experienced in childbirth, which was a lot of blood loss and then prolonged bed rest afterwards. And she never really bonded with the baby in the first couple of months. And then when she did, she resented him. He cried and cried when he switched from the wet nurse to her. And so she started taking arsenic, both to hurt the baby and herself. And it was all psychotic. She could have
Mm-hmm.
totally have overdosed, taken large doses and made it quick, but she wanted to suffer because she felt guilty, and she believed the baby deserved to suffer because it was rejecting her,
Mm-hmm.
and so ultimately the baby succumbed to arsenic poisoning, and later that she did too.
And what does the camera see as Charlotte reads this and knows this inherently, that this is the truth, that this is the
Um,
reality that she didn't see? And it's not just Christopher Hafford. There's something about so many of the people that are unable to rest here.
um, that there's a lot of intentional intentional suffering that happened here that is written off as sudden infant death and um, failure to thrive, and that a lot of it is was known by the locals at the time, whether it
Mm.
was, someone being pushed down the stairs, or a husband who drowned his wife and,
Mm-hmm.
and said that she drowned in the bathtub, or, whatever, but that there's a shocking amount of interpersonal violence and depression, darkness that is just kind of accepted and allowed to be written out of the history so that it doesn't have to be addressed. But most damning is that as Charlotte is realizing how Christopher really died, she is so entrenched in her imaginary relationship with him that she sees herself putting the arsenic in her milk, and in her milk that she ingests, and then feeding him, and feels the feelings that the mother felt, those mixed feelings of shame and horror, and that thrill of excitement of doing something awful and having control over one thing in her life, um, all at the same time. And so in this 30 seconds, it changes who she is and who she has been.
Charlotte,
She'll never be able to unknow this.
you'll never be able to go back. You have a new reality. You have a new lens. You have a new awareness of the reality in front of you. And every single excerpt that you read that has been corrected, those tombstones turn back to face you. And that woman in the pinstripe suit leaves the phone in your custody, and she opens her mouth, and it speaks to you, although the mouth doesn't move, more than just a sound pours out of it. And the thing says, "Look at me, see us." And I'm going to flip back over to Rodney. Rodney, you make your way through the leaves, through the breeze, past the BMW. You can see Charlotte in your periphery. She's holding a phone, and something with a gaping maw is speaking at her, but that's something that's happening on that side of the cemetery. You are focused on getting to the grave of Johnny, and sitting there on top of Johnny's grave with his back to his own tombstone is Johnny, a melted, putrefied, crying Johnny. And he looks up to you, and he just looks so heartbroken. And he says, "I couldn't save her. I couldn't get her out in time."
It's it's not your fault. It's I shouldn't have let you borrow my car. I knew that the brakes weren't that good. It was I tried doing one nice thing, and for it, I'm I'm gonna have to pay. That's why I gave you my plot rather than letting myself go with my wife. It I can never forgive myself. That's why I want to be buried, uh, pr- or attempt to be buried next to you as a penitence.
And he reaches out a burned, scorched hand towards you. in not only an invitation to sit next to him, but you can feel it in forgiveness.
I guess Rodney would like, at this point, grief and sadness has kind of overwhelmed him. He starts to kind of hobble over towards them, trying to even just embrace him.
And you hobble over, and he rises to his feet, and he embraces you in a hug of flames. Andre, you are alone in the cemetery carekeeper's office. It's a weird sensation because you can hear that Rodney is on fire somewhere behind you. You can hear that and you inherently understand it. But let's be honest, that's not the first person you've seen on fire in this cemetery. You know that Charlotte has been forever changed, and where she is now, she can never go back to who she was before. A monumental shift has happened somewhere in another direction. And there's some comfort that you feel there because finally, and you look up, and sitting on the opposite side of the table is that thing in the pinstripe suit. And she's sitting with amazing posture and hollow black eyes and a jaw that just doesn't feel like it's connected to the hinges correctly. And she says to you with perfect clarity, "Thank you for always seeing us. We're going to make sure they all see too."
Andre, just, he knows and recognizes who this is. And just like it happens whenever he tries to talk about it, he locks up. He can't speak. He can't say anything. He can hardly breathe, to the point that he might start almost looking a little bit blue, as if the oxygen just isn't circulating his body anymore. But with what little he can do in the face of it, he nods, a knowing, solemn nod, in that he wishes it never had to happen this way, but he knows there was no other way to do it.
And that, friends of the Symphony, is where our show ends for tonight. That is a symphony sonata. That is 60 minutes of fully improvised horror cast. Thank you for an exceptional showing. Chat, thank you so much for launching our very first symphony sonata of 2025 off with amazing suggestions. The content warnings on the YouTube version of this are about to be thick as shit for 60 minutes, guys. Woo! Thank you to everyone who currently joined or is presently here and joined in. Thank you to everyone who chose to engage with the content and watch the replay. That is it for us, guys. We hope you've had a wonderful night, and we look forward to seeing you on the Symphony again soon. Bye.